another Monday evening to you, or should I say another evening to you? Because I know some of you may be pushing play, not maybe on Monday. But it's good to be in your home, it's good to be in your space, and I hope you are really enjoying the series on loss and grief, or grief and loss. I have had a few comments, both from phone calls and I see on the chat, and I want to encourage you right there on the video, chat right below with this comment, do put in your comments and let's see how we can stimulate some more conversations or add some more questions and see how we are doing this thing better. I want to continue on this term, with this term resilience. I know that you would have had some thoughts and of course some challenges in terms of how do I continue effectively with all that is happening in terms of the loss, and how am I measuring my emotions in terms of grief? Well, one of the things that we have to realize that the clock is not shifting when there is a crisis or when there is a loss. The clock continues to go in its normal position, and its days and the minutes and days and etc. continues, and so therefore before you know it, there's a twilight and then there's a dawn and there's another day, and we keep going, and it's like you would like one of those days to stop and hold on, let me catch my breath, let me come to the place where I can say, okay, I have had a loss, or there's something wrong, there's a crisis, but if it stops, what is going to happen to you? How are you going to behave when there's that, let's say, stop time, or that day stops? You see, that puts you in a place where you are just going to be trying to maybe recalibrate the day, and maybe, as is done in some movies, bring it to the place where it didn't happen, or to make it happen differently. But it has happened, and that's the thing about real time. We can't change real time, and we can't decide that we are going to make real time any different. There has been a loss. Therefore, my clock needs to go on so that my whole body, especially my limbic system, my nervous system, will continue to function and bring me to that place where I can live, and live as successful as I was living before the grief. One of the things about loss is that we have not been taught, even in our childhood, how to do without, or when something is missing, how to find alternatives. I want that. I must have that. And if it's not there, I go to find that particular thing. Even though there may be some changes in the dynamics and the formation, you still want this as close as possible. So, you want a dog, but you want the dog to look like what you had, or you want the fish to look like what you had. And sometimes for people who have had losses in their marriage, they want to maybe find another husband or wife who is like that, and the same color and shape, and we have this like that same thing, so that when we are faced with the inability to recapture the like that or the similarities, we are therefore put in a greater disadvantage of who we are and what we are supposed to be. And so therefore these negative emotions could keep rising and working through our minds with these different kinds of experiences. One of the things that we have to realize, and I mentioned it in the last broadcast, that we are faced with different communities coming in. And I want to refocus again on that today. You have your family members coming to ask you, your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, each representing a different population and a different interest. And all of a sudden, they are in all one space. I get up in the mornings, I leave my family, I go to the workplace, or I go to school. So I don't carry my family to the workplace or to school. So those communities are separated. My friends don't come to work. They rely after work somewhere on the football field or by a Pizza Hut or somewhere, or we go to Lime somewhere. But so we don't mix our communities. So the community there, I go to church, and church communities there. So we have these different communities that we're working with. But all of a sudden, on this day when I have had my loss and I feel this sense of grief, all communities converge. And so therefore there's family, there's employees, there are friends, schoolmates, everybody's in one space. And everybody's exacting of me a particular emotion. You okay? Why so? Can I help? And you have all these questions coming left, right, and center. And you are supposed to look a particular way. Everybody wants you to look in this, according to their own concepts. And you're having a hard time just being you. Because you have to answer to these communities. The friends want support. I'm here for you. The family, what next? How we handling it? What we could do? You call this one? You call the police? You call the insurance? Okay, the employees, how much time do you want? It's okay, we could reduce the schedule. We can give you some time. We talk to the boss. Wow, school. Well, take a couple of days, but do remember we have assignments. We'll catch up with you. So we all have these different realities in terms of how we are to manage, or to be managed rather, and yet function. So one of the things about this concept of resilience is how do we appropriate our emotions, and not to be offensive, but yet to capture the need that people have for you and work out that support system. So here am I, wanting to maybe have a meal, and my friends decide they are going to maybe go down the road and get me some quick food, Chinese or whatever, but my family's brewed a pot. Now that family pot is going to take long because there's a decision to be made about what to cook. That takes long. And who's cooking? In that time, I can get the fast food quicker, or I can call on the phone and it comes quicker. So you're eating their food and not mine. Wow, Jesus. You know, so that I again have to look, how do I decipher, how do I differentiate my needs in context of all that is being said and done, and realize very often I need to work out that position and say, okay, this is what I want. Now, is anybody listening to me? No. Everybody's looking at you. They're not listening. They're looking to see how my face, they're trying to read my emotions. I do not have any emotions to read. I am just freely wanting to have something to eat. And I would like to eat what I would maybe like. It may not be what you're cooking. It may be just what my friends are doing. Or it may be a suggestion from my school friends who say, let's go out of the house. You can't leave now, people coming. So how am I coming into that place that we call resilience, where I'm able to re-identify the emotions of before the anti-crisis and come more into a place where I can breathe and be more effectively human. So what I want is somebody to really love me. And by the way, that love is not L-O-V-E, it's L-U-V-E. I really want somebody to listen to me. I want somebody to hear what I am saying, to identify with my heart and my mind, and to reach out to the way I'm thinking at this point in time. But can people really want that? Because everybody in those communities have a particular voice that they want you to hear. Because everybody comes with a word of exhortation, a word of comfort. But I have something to say. I must be able to say about how I feel. Is anybody listening? So I want somebody to listen to me. That's the L. I want somebody to understand. Just to appreciate that I am thinking. Just appreciate that I do have a feeling and emotion that needs to be expressed. You see, when we're talking about resilience, we're talking about the person who has been affected by the grief, not the people around who have second-degree effect. But I'm in the first-degree space, but nobody wants to appreciate my first-degree space because everybody comes with their second-degree space and wants to be first-degree and say, we all in this thing together. Fine, but I'm in the center of it all. I am the one directly affected. So therefore, it is important for me to really have a voice and to be heard and to be appreciated for what I'm saying. So that I want you to be able to say, I appreciate what you're saying. Is that what you want? Could we do it? Let's do it. You see, because I'm the one who have to come into that other word called equilibrium. I have to find myself where I'm able to find that level of comfort. And I can use it with peace, but more so comfort with contentment. and to go forward with who I am and what I'm doing. The other word would be the V for love, LUV. Validate. I just want to be validated. I want to know that you're just there hearing me. So maybe a grunt, maybe you're like, yeah, I hear you. Sounds good. Yeah, those kinds of words. I think we can work that out. I want to be told something that helps me in this time of crisis, that I have my head on my shoulder. Many times in a crisis, the person who is traumatized or have that loss somehow loses cognitive identities, and there is that imbalance in thought and process. And sometimes you wonder if you are making the right decision, if you are saying the right thing. When am I saying the right thing? If I'm ever going to say the right thing. So I should be able to say, yes, this is the right thing. Or somebody can say, yeah, it sounds good. So validating me is important for the process to go forward. It is important for me to know that when I am in shock, I am not losing my mind. I am not going crazy. Even though I feel like if I can't think, because the shock of the situation has brought me into a place of numbness, and I can't seem to think rationally, but yet I have ideas. So I need to be validated. I need to know that, hey, I am not, may I repeat, going crazy. I'm not losing my mind. I'm not being indifferent. I am not being irrational. So that it is important for you to listen, to understand, and to validate. We call that love. It's important for you to understand that I need to come to that place where I am finding the balance and I am growing. Now, this may not happen immediately on the day of the crisis. It may happen within the next 3 or 4 days, but it has to happen. Because as I said, the clock goes on. Time is going on. There is going to be a tomorrow and the next day. And those days have events. Certain events that I wish didn't have to happen, but those events are necessary. Whether it's going to be a funeral, whether it's going to be a rebuilding, whether it's going to be a moving of burnt wood from the burnt house, whether it's going to be having to assess the crashed car. Those things I wish I never had to do, but I do have to do them. So I need to have a capacity where I can really have rationality and understanding of process. Therefore, I will really need some validation. I will need to be told, yeah, this sounds good. I will need that. And I want us to know that it's important for us to appreciate that the other people are there, the communities are there, but I have to appreciate me. Now I have to help them. Now, I am the one at the sore end of the stick. I am the one who's suffering from this calamity, this trauma. But how do I have them help me? Because some people do not know. Those communities really do not have an idea what to say and what to do. They just want to present themselves, but themselves is so indifferent to myself. I am having a problem being resilient. I am looking to find a way where I can really define who I am in that space. So I want some time to think. I want some time to talk. How honest could I be to say, could you leave? Could you not be here? I would like to go to my bed. Or I'm going for a drive. Or I want to be alone with this particular person, or not that. Am I free to express myself without feeling that I am offending general public? And that's a crucial thing. How am I going to continue acknowledging who I am and re-identifying my emotions without offending? I ought not, I should say, think about the not offending. I must think about how I can be supported even if there's offense. That offense basically is working out difference. How I am establishing those differences and what makes difference so real. I've constantly wondered in terms of, again, that issue of resilience. How do I go forward redefining concepts that are new and are not what people would have thought I should be or how I should behave? Am I free to voice? Am I free to capture those differences. You know, when I look around in public spaces and I see people moving, different color skin, different hairstyles, different dress codes, you're free to entertain that. So that's who they are. You know, whether he has a curly hair or black hair, or whether it's brunette, or whether the clothes are big or baggy or narrow. You find whether people eat it with their hands or not. You know, you might say, wow, different. But you're willing to just adapt. You're willing to say, why not? But when it comes to loss, somehow people feel they have the right to refit. Everybody wants to put a piece of the puzzle back together. Everybody has a bright idea. But I have the ideas, and the ideas have to start with me, maybe finish with me too. But could I help here? Could I do this for you? You know, I think that would be a good idea if we do this. Now, it's one thing to give an example or a suggestion, but is it not me to receive that suggestion and then ratify it? So I need to work out a particular mindset in how I am ratified and how I am working through the next step in terms of coming together with all the information and going forward for my sake. So, what about my decisions? Are they real? Yes, they are. Are they mine? Yes, they are. Do I need help with them? Yes, I do. But I need help from you with my suggestions. So you have to be careful about how you work effectively, how you address me, how you acknowledge me, as I said earlier with love, how we validate. I have to learn how to work that with you, and you have to learn how to validate me and to say, okay, let me accept where you're at and how you're at and help you rediscover you for yourself. I have to learn to be interpersonal. I may want to be alone, but I cannot just decide to be alone 24/7 when there's so many other people and systems around me that I need to connect with. I need to connect with, in most times, rationally, because I am making very salient decisions that are going to be needed for the continuum of my life, and especially in terms of how I handle the said trauma. So therefore, I need to have a level mind. But how do I get that? I need you. You need me. So I'm trying to help us here today in terms of resilience, how to really work with the masses, how to work with people around us and not feel that we're overpowered or we really want to throw them away, not realizing that we need them. And how they need to know that they can be thrown away, but yet they want to be needed. And how can we vice versa work this? So for our interpersonal, how do I work that? And I need to be honest about allowing some people to find their space within themselves, and also to allow them to come into you by just allowing them to come into you. Did I repeat that? I did. Allowing them to come into you rather than they just barging in. And some people say, but you know, if I don't say something, she would never say it, or he would never. No, wait. Could you just sit there and be present? And I want to help you. I want to work with you. It's important to define that and how to help work that, so that when we go further and we look at those communities, one of the things that I think that's important to work out all of this is language. How are we working out our language? How are we working out what is heard and what is not heard? And I think I mentioned some of that last broadcast, but I want to emphasize that as we close up here. How do we listen and know what the other person means as against what I think it means? You all come with your differences in terms of language, and this person who already is hurting and in pain, trying to define their own consciousness and their own vocabulary and making sure they're not going crazy. For you to come with different concepts in your own language set, that can be confusing. So we have to find again the patience to operate in those patterns of language that would bear one with the other. I'm going to continue with this language thing a little more and see how it fits in very nicely to the whole big picture. But today I really want us to pay attention to the fact that we're different communities, we are working with each other, and we are here to capture. We're here to capture what each other needs rather than to enforce what each other needs. So that, again, with love, we need to listen, we need to have understanding, and we need to validate. We need to let the person know that they're not good of their mind just by saying, that was a nice idea, I like it, let's do it. That's a good color, why not choose this? Good idea, go right ahead. We need to build that kind of strength, which we call resilience, so the person can live each day and not want to go back on the clock, but let the clock go forward in time. So, Dr. Niall saying again, thank you very much for tuning in and looking to see where the future carries us. We thank you. Have a good day.